Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. Hope you all guys are doing well, happy at home, and probably we would start this session today. We have got 100 and more participants. So let us welcome them all. Let us welcome our guests today and all the faculty members as well, those who have joined. Good morning again, and I am Professor Yogesh Mai from Computer Department. Today we are launching one webinar, you can say, for postgraduate graduate aspirants who want to do post graduation in foreign countries. And it's my responsibility to welcome the guest today by giving her short introduction and starting with welcoming note for today's event. Within a short notice, we got a very young, dynamic guest today. Her name is Pradnya Bhukan. She is our alumni. Very proudly, I am saying this. She is a pass out student from our department itself. And talking about her experiences, she has done lots of internship programs. She has done good in all the projects and has good quality and experience in terms of knowledge and technical skills. I would just like to highlight her current profile. She is associate consultant at Bhavan Cybertech Tipco, working as an UI development team, and she has done many internship program, namely Bhau Institute COEP. She has done for Bluetooth Low Energy. Then she has also completed her internship in People Asset Learning Services India Private Limited in terms of web development, and she has also done many more such internship programs which has molded her career very broadly. Now, talking about her journey as if being a faculty member and her guide, I have seen her journey throughout, and I am a eye view witness, you can say, whatever the career she has molded today. So it been a immense pleasure for us, all the faculty members, to say that we have got her as an guest today for today's lecture, and hope all the students will get more and specific knowledge in terms of post graduation when we consider some foreign universities. And there might be some questions in the mind of student during the corona situation, whether it is possible and whether it is feasible to go over there or have an ms, etc. But I would like to say she has done everything during these situations only, and she has successfully conquer the position. So you can have a hand to hand experience, all the knowledge from her. And I'm also like to say that she been topper from our department, so you can also ask your questions regarding the academics as well, how she was able to manage all these activity with academics, each and everything, whatever questions. And hopefully the session will be full duplex, questions from your end would be asked to her, and she is definitely capable to answer to all your queries. With that note, I would just like to hand over today's platform to Pradnya, and just go for it and shape our students, give them as much as knowledge as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a generous introduction. Good morning, everybody. My name is Pradnya Bhukan, and I am here to give you a brief introduction on how to prepare for your masters. Uh, I'll just share my PPT. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
So I'll start from my introduction, as Sir has given a lot of information to you. But right now I'm working in Bauhan Cybertech as an associate consultant. Over there, I'm working in a Ministry of Housing project. Luckily, I was put into the project on the day one itself, and I'm working there in UI team and in the React JS. Right now, I'm in the process of my master's, and this fall 2021, that is this August, I will be going to sunny Binghamton, that is State University of New York. And I will be join. I'm still in the process of doing all the process. First of all, if you guys is if anybody here is looking for masters and even thinking about it, let me tell you about the perks you will be getting when you do your masters. The first thing is degree. Obviously, you will get a master's degree. The second thing is independence. Most of the people will be living with their parents up till now. So when you go for masters, you go to a different country. You have your independence. You have a lot of responsibilities on you. Added responsibilities obviously will have a part-time jobs. Part-time jobs are there to give you extra income to share your living expenses and everything. And the last one is salary. Salary is a huge difference in what we get here in India and what we get there in foreign countries. The average salary of a software engineer in USA is $70,000 per annum. Briefly calculated, it is around $6,000 per month, which is in INR 3 to 4 lakhs per month. So in India, we get 3 to 4 lakhs per annum, and you can see what huge difference there is. So I would say urge you all to do your masters if possible. Now that you're considering for doing your masters, you would have questions like when to start and how to start. So for the when to start question, I would say that you should start at least 1 year before going. Like I am going for fall 2021, so I should prepare from fall 2020, that is August 2020. After you complete your, like if possible, if you're going right after your bachelor's, then you can after giving your final year examinations, you can start considering the options as finalizing universities, joining some agency for getting more help, and everything can be started. How to start? I will start with the next. The first thing is consider the countries to be considered. So most of the students, basically CS students, consider US for their higher education. So other than US, we have Canada, Australia, UK, Ireland, and Finland. But most of the CS students pursue masters in USA because there are huge number of opportunities after masters. A lot of obviously Silicon Valley is there, so you will get a lot of opportunities there, even in startups or big MNCs. After you finalize which country you should consider, then the next step I would say is getting your transcripts. Transcripts is something, see, in India the grading system is very different from what we have there in foreign countries. So transcript is a way where they will break down your marks and grades and everything, so that universities over there will get a view of what you have scored and they can convert your grades into their grading systems. So getting your transcripts from SPPU will take around 2 months. So I would say if you are considering applying in November or December, then you should get your transcripts at least a 1 month before. There might be a question how many transcripts you should get. Due to this COVID situations, most of the universities are saying just scan your transcripts and submitted online only. So you don't have to get more than 2 to 3 transcripts, but make sure you have at least 2 transcripts, because if any university say that you have to mail the transcript, so then you would have the transcripts with you. Other than transcripts, the second thing is SOP and LOR. SOP is statement of purpose and LOR is letter of recommendation. Statement of purpose is why you want to pursue your masters. It is a 1 or 2 page document where you explain them what all qualifications you have, what all you have done, internships, extracurricular activities, and everything, how you stand out of the crowd. So this is one of the major aspects where university selects you by reading the statement of purpose. So, and the other thing is letter of recommendation. Letter of recommendation, if you are doing your masters right after your bachelor's like me, then you can meet your professors and ask them for a letter of recommendation. Most of the universities require at least 2 to 3 letter of recommendations. What I would suggest is join some agency which will they have a particular team for content writers. So they just ask you some questions on based on which they write a beautiful statement of purpose and letter of recommendations which you can use. The next thing is entrance exams. Uh, Most of you would already know this, that before going for your masters, you have to clear your GRE and give an English proficiency exams. Now, if you are going for masters in any subject, then you have to give your GRE. And if you're considering MBA or business schools, then you have to give GMAT exams. Due to this pandemic situations, most of the students are unable to go to the test centers and give their exams. So most of the universities have waived off these requirement. That means you don't have to give the GRE exams. The only thing you need is your bachelor's degree, and uh, they just consider you from your previous course only from your university. But even if later years, like next year or so, if you are asked to give GRE, then I would suggest join some classes because GRE is quite tough to crack. There are a lot of classes available in Pune itself, so you can give them. uh, in GRE, there are two things: aptitude exam and English exams. So in aptitude, you are asked general mathematics questions, and in English, there are English questions. You have to score above 300 or 310 for getting into good universities. Each university has a website on which you can see their previous alumni and everything, so that you can see how much you need to score in your GRE exams. The second thing is English proficiency exam. We are a non-native English speaking country. That means our first language is not English. So because of this, going to a foreign country whose first language is English, we need to know English and understand and speak English so that we can go there and study. So for English proficiency exam, there are three exams available: IELTS, TOEFL, and Duolingo. Duolingo is fairly new and cheaper than other two exams, and it can be given just by sitting at your home. So a lot of students this year are considering Duolingo exam because of this pandemic. Most of the students are unable to go to the test centers, so you can consider Duolingo also. I have given IELTS. I will break down how IELTS goes. There are four sections in IELTS exams. The first one is speaking exam. In speaking exam, there is two subsections. So what you have to do is go and meet one interviewer. You have to go and speak with them in English, and they grade you on basis of how you speak well. So the first section is a general conversation where they ask you a couple of questions and you need to answer them. There are questions like what is your background, what did you study earlier, or what are you working in, and where do you live in, where how is your place and everything. This is a general conversation. The second thing is they give you a topic and you have to speak for 2 minutes on that topic. The topic is also very general. That is, you can say the topic can be like what was your happiest day, what was your happiest memory, or something like that. What I would suggest is do not join any classes for English proficiency exams because there are a lot of YouTube videos available. For free of cost, you can give it. And I would say that most of the engineering students have good English, so you can just go to the YouTube courses and prepare. You should give at least 1 month for giving your English proficiency exams. One thing is that you need your passport to attend these exams because you need your passport number while taking the appointment. So make sure that you have a passport before attending these exams. The next thing is courses. Now that you have given your GRE exams and English proficiency exams, you should finalize what course you have to do. There are a lot of courses available. The most general one, and most of the students pursue this, is masters in computer science. Masters in computer science have like 4 to 5 core subjects which are compulsory, and every other subject is elective. This is one of the best things for studying masters in foreign countries, as most of the subjects you can choose. So for the electives in computer science, you can get subjects for data science, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, cloud computing, UI, UX, and more such options. You just have to, there are professors who can guide you on what you have to take. You can do your research yourself before even going in the foreign country and pursuing your masters. Other than computer science, there are courses like MS in data science, MS in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, cloud computing, UI UX. If from your bachelor's itself you are sure which course you have to take, then you can directly go for that course itself. Like if like me you're not sure which course you have to take, then you can pursue masters in computer science. Other than that, there are a lot of courses available, and it is not like a computer student only can do computer science masters. Other students also pursue computer science masters, and even you can go for other courses which are not computer science related. Once you have finalized which course you have to take, you have to finalize your universities. I would suggest till November you should have your universities finalized, because in December 15th, most of the universities have their deadline, and after that, you cannot give your applications. This is because after December 15th, they get their Christmas holidays. So many good universities have their deadline in December 15 only. So I would suggest please find, if you are considering, then you can finalize your universities till November. Now you might have a question like, how should I finalize these universities? Because we are sitting here in India and we don't know much about the universities out there. So there are four aspects I have mentioned. The first is QS World Rank. This is a website you can go and you can check out the world ranking of each and every university. The top universities I would say is MIT, Harvard, Stanford, Caltech, and these universities. And even our IIT comes into top, one of the IIT comes into top 100 of these QS World Rank. What I would suggest is you should go for universities who are ranked at least 200 and 300. You should not go below it. If you're going below that ranking, it is not like those universities would not be good. Even I have applied to some universities who have ranking below 300. What happens there is you are a bigger fish in a smaller town, in a smaller pond. So you get more opportunities, more scholarships options, because that university would be happy to have such a candidate. So you will be a bigger fish for them and you will get more scholarships options. The second thing is, of course, the coursework. In the last slide, I showed you that you have to finalize your course, which course you will be pursuing. So the second aspect would be whether that university has that course available or not. So this is the second thing. The third is acceptance rate and placement rates. Acceptance rate is how much acceptance they give to international students as well. You should consider this. If you just type in acceptance rate of a specific university on Google, you will get a rate and you can consider as that. If that university has acceptance rate above 80 to 90%, then you can call that university as your safe university. I will tell you what safe, medium, and ambitious university is. Placement rates, you don't get it on their website or something. You can contact alumni of that university or seniors which are doing masters in that university on LinkedIn, and you can connect with them. Most of the students will be happy to answer your questions, and they can tell you whether where they are working and everything. Even if you just type in that university's name and you go on that university's LinkedIn website, then you can search alumni and where they are working. So you can get a overview of where the alumni of that universities are working. So you can consider your universities likewise. The fourth one is weather and living expenses. Weather is, of course, very different from what we have here in India. So what I have heard is whenever students go to Canada, most of them come back in December because they could not stand the cold there. So you should look at the weather also, and the living expenses is obviously a lot higher from India. So if some university is having lower living expenses than other university, so I would suggest you to choose that university, because frankly speaking, universities do not matter in basically US, because more opportunities are quite equal for all the universities. Everybody, after doing their masters, apply online or in LinkedIn. There are obviously the career fairs available, but most of the students apply online only, and they get their jobs from LinkedIn or some career websites. So universities do not matter as much as you would think. I have spoken to a lot of seniors there, and they everybody suggest me the same. The thing about safe, medium, and ambitious universities is while applying, you should apply to at least 6 universities, and these universities should be divided into these aspects: safe, medium, and ambitious. Why I am saying just apply to 6 universities, because for every university you have to pay the application fees, and that application fees in average is around $70. So you will be spending $70 per university for your application itself, because they have to do this grade conversions and everything, and they are spending time on your applications. This is why they charge you a fee. So that is why I said you should not apply more than 6 universities. The safe university is what you will be sure that you will get your admission in it. That means you are more than like 90% sure that you will get your admission. So you can put those 2 universities into safe. So even if you don't get your admissions from the medium and ambitious universities, then you are safe and you can pursue your masters. The second thing is medium universities. That is, you are around 60 to 70% sure that you will get your admission there, but there are chances that you might not. So that is why those universities will come into medium universities. The last one is ambitious universities. Ambitious means it is like your dream college. It would be very, you would be very happy if you get into that university. So those are the university, but there are less chances that you will get into that university, so you can consider that university in ambitious. I would suggest give at least 1 month for university finalization. As you do more research, then you will get to know about how those universities are, and you can even speak to your seniors about the feedback of that university, if that course is good over there or not. You can read on Quora and everything, and you can do your research. So as I said, you should at least give 1 month for this. The next thing is scholarship. As I've mentioned, you have to do part-time jobs over there. On for F1 visa, you are allowed to do only on-campus jobs. That means you cannot go out of the university and do any jobs like in KFC or McDonald's or so. You get on-campus jobs. There are a lot of on-campus jobs available. Dining services from library or sports. Everywhere students are provided some part-time jobs. If not, there are scholarships also available. If your profile is very good, the university will give you a scholarship. I would be frank with you and tell you that these scholarships are very less for graduate students. Most of the scholarships are reserved for the undergraduate students. So please do not feel bad if you do not get any scholarships, because they consider you when you go there and study for your first semester. They look at your scores and how you had done, and then they give you a scholarship. There are 4 types of scholarships. The first one is graduate assistantships. If you become a graduate assistant, then you have to help them in some graduate work. Like if there are new students coming in, you have to prepare something for that. Everything will become under graduate assistantships. The second is teaching assistantships. In teaching assistantships, you can even be told to teach a smaller class, or you have to help the professors over there in some teaching work. The third one is the research assistantships. The research assistantships is when you finalize your course likewise, and you are going to do some research on some particular project. Then you will get, and if you are considered, then you will get a research assistantships. Even then you work under a guide only, under a professor, and you have to show whatever you have done in that research. The last one is the normal scholarships. That is, most of the students do not get more than $10,000 to $20,000 scholarship. I have been very lucky to get around $1,000 scholarship from Sunny Binghamton, and around $8,000 scholarship from the other university that I have accepted the admit. After scholarships, this is the semesters. If any student do not know this, then I would like to throw some light on this also. Most of the universities have fall and spring intake. Like in fall, that is in August, a lot of students come, new students come into the universities. The second thing is spring intakes happen in January, and a lesser number of students from what we have in fall intake come in the universities in the time of January and February. Most of the students take fall semesters because a lot of on campus and scholarships opportunities are available, because the students who pass out in fall semesters are in a lot of number, so you get more opportunities as they or all those seats need to be filled. Very rarely some universities have intake in summer as well, but there are universities who have summer intakes. The next is the loan procedure. The expenses for doing your masters is honestly a lot, and everybody would suggest you to take education loan. In average, around you need around 50 lakhs for 2 years of your education. This is including the tuition fees, the living expenses and everything, and even the miscellaneous items if you need. The first one, which most of the Indians choose, is HDFC. HDFC gives around 40 lakhs of unsecured loan, and the ROI, that is rate of interest, is around 11.75. If you're going for secured loan, well, unsecured is when you do not give them any collateral. Secured is when you have to give them some collateral, that is property or something. So for secured loan, they can give up to 60 lakhs of loan, and the ROI for secured one is 10.75. The next one is ICICI. In ICICI, they have divided all the universities into four lists: A1, A2, A3, and A4. For A1 universities, they give up to 40 lakhs of unsecured loan. The ROI for secured is 10.50 and the unsecured is 10.75. And for A2 list, they give around 20 lakhs of unsecured loan, and this ROI for secured is 10.75 and unsecured is 10.99. Bank of Baroda also gives a lot lesser option for ROI, that is 9 point something, and you can consider Bank of Baroda also. But I have heard that they do not give more than 20 to 30 lakhs of loan. So if you're going to some university where the expenses will exceed 30 lakhs, then you would have to think about other options as well. Why I have added Prodigy into this is I have heard quite a lot of negative impacts, negative feedbacks of seniors, and I would suggest if you're going for Prodigy for your loan, then please talk to some seniors and know what you're going taking loan and what are the ROI and everything, and then only decide. After the loan and everything, there is the last one, which is visa. Visa is before going to some foreign countries, you have to obviously take your visa. There is one SEVIS fee for this, and SEVIS is student and exchange visitor program. Right now, you are an Indian student, and later you will be some other country's student. So you will have to get the SEVIS ID from the university, and you have to pay the SEVIS fee. For F1 visa, it is around $350. What is I-20? I-20 is something you get from your university where they break down the cost of everything you will be spending, from the tuition fee to the books, living expenses, and everything. So I-20 is needed. If you get more than 2 to 3 admits, I would suggest take I-20 from every university and consider that which university you will be spending more or less, and likewise finalize your university. The last one is DS-160. This is also needed for visa only. You have to pay around $160 fee, and then you have to choose the visa appointments. After you get your fill your DS-160 form, you have to get appointments from the US embassy. That would be US embassy for me. And due to this COVID pandemic in Mumbai, the embassies have been closed as the situation here is pretty bad, and some students who have applied for the visa before this pandemic, that is before the situation going so bad, then they have received a lot of admits meaning the visas. So, but right now in Mumbai, they have closed the embassy, and whoever have applied for May and June, their visa appointments have been cancelled. But I have spoken to a lot of students who have went for their masters in this January and February. They have told that they get their appointments for they increase their appointments for F1 visa students in 1 month or 2 months before, so that each and every student who will be doing their masters will get an appointment and will be considered for visas. So do not worry if you are thinking about what will happen in this pandemic. Then they will open more slots, and even if not in Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, and Hyderabad, they all the embassies are open, and you can take their appointments itself. That's all for today. If you want to connect with me, you can go on this link and you can ask me more questions. Right now, even if you have any questions, you can shoot at me right now. Is anybody really considered for doing the masters? You can ask any questions if you have.
Yes, students, I guess Pradnya have given a nice presentation and share her lifelong experience about what she had faced and how the things have been unfold to her. Now, there are some aspirants who are going for this and other people who just been a part of this particular session as knowledge gaining or any other perspective. So if you have any questions, any doubt, if you want to ask her own experience, what she faced, what were the lacunas and what how she overcome from them, etc., you can go for it. Please put your questions. If you're not able to speak it, put your question in the Dropbox, or you can say her she is online.
One of the questions is about MBA programs. Most of the universities require experience while doing MBA because experience is considered well, and you should at least have 2 years of experience if you're trying to pursue MBA. It's not like students do not go directly after masters. There are a lot of students who who do MBA after their bachelor's. So it is considered good if you have experience, but you can go directly also. Shirish, in which year you are right now? Okay, second year. So second year, when should one give the GRE and when to for second year students, I would suggest you can start considering these options after your third year itself, because 1 year is more than enough for doing your research and everything. You can even look at the universities right now and talk to some seniors about which university you can go. And what I would suggest for second and third year students right now is that do a lot of internships. As your classes are being held online, you have ample amount of time for doing your masters and everything. So you can do internships right now and improve your resume. I have done a couple of internships and they have honestly, I have standed out of the crowd, and this is why they consider you better than others and will consider you for their master's program. I think you must. It is not like US is less famous with IELTS. A lot of universities A lot of universities have IELTS and they consider IELTS, but yes, of course, TOEFL is the one which most of the universities consider. But almost all do consider IELTS also. IELTS has 9 bands in total, and you are graded from 9 bands. And most of the universities have around 6 to 6.5 bands criteria. If you score less than that, then you won't be considered. Your application won't be considered. But just 6.5 or more is required for most of the universities, I would say. How strong has to be one's resume? It is not like if you have a very average resume, then you won't get a masters, like you won't get admission into masters. There are a lot of students I've heard on YouTube and everything that even they have less number of internships, a couple of backlogs and everything, they still get admissions into universities. And then you can apply to some lower ranking universities. Do consider higher ranks also, but if you apply to lower ranking universities, then you can easily get into that university. For internships, I would suggest you can go to Internshala, or if you are interested in a particular company, then go to their careers website and check whether they have any internships available for bachelors. Then you can apply directly on their websites itself. Other than that, Internshala would be one of the best one. I have got two of my internships from Internshala itself.
Good response from students. You can put in more messages, more questions if you have.
Internshala is not a scam. I have got two internships from Internshala, and the volunteer work I have done, that was fundraising, that is also from Internshala itself. So it is not a scam as such. Many universities have waived off GRE, and some take students solely on bachelor's marks. How one can choose a good university, as good universities mostly take GRE, moreover finding at SAT degrees so challenging. Yes, obviously, GRE is one of the major aspects which was being considered earlier. But right now, even top universities, that is Ivy League universities, have also waived off the GRE requirement. So they judge you only based on your bachelor's marks. So I don't think that would be a problem. Even if you don't give GRE, then they consider every other thing, that is bachelor's marks and internships and 10th and 12th marks. So okay, do not worry about giving or not giving GRE. You're finding desired degrees also. Finding a desired degree, I would say that if you are in second or third year, then you have ample amount of time for doing your research on which degree you have to take, which university you have to consider. So do your research. There are a lot of YouTube videos available. You can speak to seniors directly for finalizing these universities and degrees. Yes, you can use LinkedIn for your internships as well. What would it take to enter? Ivy League universities, you have to have no backlogs and a very good resume, because a lot of internships, volunteer work, even in schools and everything, you need to have a good extra curriculum as well as a lot of good marks and straight A grades. I have seen some profiles of the students who have got admissions into Ivy League universities. They have straight A's from even first class. So I would say it is not something you can improve from bachelor's, but yeah, they do consider students who have good profile even in bachelor's. Just doing internships and volunteer work or something, then you can get you can even be considered for Ivy League universities. I have done web development internships. There were two web development internships, and one was where I learned about IoT and Bluetooth Low Energy. For the two web development internships, I have helped in making the websites, and other than that, I have even helped in some NGOs. There are two NGOs I have worked with where I was there just to raise funds. Yeah, that's it. Have I answered all questions?
Definitely yes, Pradnya.
Okay. Are there any more questions?
Students are requested to just go with the attendance and feedback form and just fill up the and do all the formalities. I have sent to twice the link in the Dropbox. Please check for it. Is there any more questions?
If you want, you can even connect with me on LinkedIn, or I have even shared my email ID. You can connect and ask any more questions if you want.
Yeah, fine. Regarding Intershala scam, I would like to say it is not a scam, but you have to see the specific websites which you are going to visit. Why? Because there are lots of fake website. The name that's why getting been destroyed, or you can say it has been sent a wrong message towards the community. Intershala is not at all a scam. Some fake websites, some fake people do these things and promote their particular other side of the coin in terms of having the names, means they put the Intershala name and they do false activities. So keep that in mind. Search for good activities and search for genuine things.
Vaishnavi, are you in second year? Even if you are, you can do your internships from second year itself. Even I have done my first internship in second year only. So you can start looking for internships, and it will give you a hands-on experience on what you have to do once you graduate. So I would say yes, you can start opting for internships from now itself. What would you like to share about?
Pratna, there is one question. There is one question you like. They want you to share about college and college facilities as well as all the faculty members and your experience. So rather, it would be a good question to answer upon. Go for it.
College about Diva Patil or the one which I'm going?
You can go for both, I guess. You can go for both.
Okay.
First, go with Diva Patil and then you say about your current college.
Okay. I would like to start about Diva Patil. Of course, I've been happy that there are all the teachers are really good and they have given me a good exposure on everything. They have guided me from my path, and they have supported me on all my way. So even when I was doing internships or doing my projects and everything, they have been really helpful. And I would say yes, you have to, now that you are doing your classes online, there would be a little bit pressure on you, so you have to study from your own only. So please keep that in mind, that you have to get good grades even then, even if you are in the pandemic and giving online examinations. So it's yeah, that's it for the DFA battle. Other than that, for Sunny Binghamton, I would say I have spoken to only two professors right now, and they were really frank with me, and they told me everything about what all the questions I had. So even before going to your masters, you can connect with your professors. They conduct some events or so where you can connect with the professors or your seniors, so you can talk with them, ask any questions you have and everything. So people over there are, I would say, let's see, I'll go there and then tell you again.
Fine. I would like to add something into Pradnya's experience when she was opted for all these particular post graduation and whatever she want to do for MS and etc. When she used to come towards us, she was being very patient, and I guess I and Chaitanya sir was used to get all the emails for recommendation, I guess 6 or 7 university, if I am not wrong, she have applied for, and within that she would means she was always in mode of searching for best opportunity, good opportunity. And yes, the as parents today from second year are now so eager. I'm been really happy. Why? Because she been flying with the good colors, and you people are being so aspirant and eager for going for such a good opportunity and challenging things. So it means very nice, and it gives us good output that our students are doing good, and they are means opted or like to go for MS. So whatever internship and etc., yes, definitely we are going to send you email. Being a placement and training coordinator for our department, it's my prime responsibility to tune up the students by giving such opportunities of internship and etc. So they are definitely coming in your email, so keep watch on it. And from second year, third year itself, if you are trying for internship, they will be definitely give you fruitful figures in terms of anything shaping up your career, as well as if you want to obtain for post graduation, it will be definitely giving you the best remarks. So don't worry, we are going to put in all the internship related things in your inbox, so check it out. Any more questions? Yes, Pradnya, from your side, anything is there to say?
Um, I guess there are some questions. Just a second. It's just- For scholarships, the website you would be like the university you would be applying to, you should go to the website and search for scholarships available for master's program. And it's not like you have to apply for scholarships separately. Once you fill your applications and submit it, you're directly considered for scholarships. As I've mentioned that there are less number of opportunities on scholarships available for master's students, but if you go for lesser ranked universities, then you will get good amount of scholarship from that university. And you can speak with the professors there or the graduate. There are some graduate team which helps you in answering all your questions and doubts you have, so you can ping them, you can mail them and check whether you have scholarships available for masters, and then you can apply. Funding is obviously the main problem, and you can get loan. Most of the students get loan and then do their masters. As I've shared the loan slide, you can check that HDFC gives a good amount of loan even if you are going for unsecured loan. So do not worry about funding, and apply for loans and everything. For scholarships, you will be directly considered. What sort of internships we should prefer? If you're clear on what course you have to go, like if you're right now considering data science or web development like me, I was from starting interested in web development, so I did web development related internships. It's not like if you're not really sure you can't do internships, you can go for every type of internships and check them out. You can gain experience and learn whether which path would be helpful for you.
Regarding the presentation, I would be sharing the slides so that you guys would be knowing all the terms and terminologies what she had covered. So I would be sharing the slides here on the Dropbox itself. By the time, if you have any more questions, you can ask.
From my side, I would just say that if you are in second and third year right now, just study and do a lot of internships as possible, and improve your resume. Once your resume is good, and it's just not like you have to do academics only, you should do some extracurricular also. So that will boost your resume. So And from now itself you can do your university research. If you start right now, then you will have good amount of exposure on what universities are available, what courses are available in that university, and which university you have to select. uh, my first internship was unpaid. That was in Bhau Institute. That was just where I learned about Bluetooth Low Energy and beacons and everything. I used to go to COEP and learn about all these things. So yeah, my first internship was unpaid, but my second, the third one was paid. I got 2,000 for 1 month. Yeah. If you're thinking about paid or unpaid internships, then please keep in mind that you're just a bachelor right now. You are just pursuing your bachelor. Then it might be possible that the companies do not give you money for doing internships. Just the experience would be more than enough. You have to do your internships to learn. And yeah, that's what.
Okay, fine. I guess most of the queries have been solved. You can connect her anytime as she have shared all the connection through LinkedIn, etc. We would be try to add her email IDs as well in the PPTs so that you will be able to communicate with her. Those aspirants who really are in need with her. Now, I guess Pradnya, is it over from your side?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is time to conclude now. So I am very much thankful to one who have introduced this particular session for the student, that is Vishal Borate sir, because while speaking about all these sessions and etc. for you students, we used to prefer some consultancies or some people who are outside of our banners. That means some other than our students or etc. But I would proudly say our student itself have now achieved a position where she can give her valuable inputs to we all, and we need not have to rely on any other consultancies or etc. in order to guide you people. So it gives us immense respect in terms of her knowledge, her experience, and I would like to tell she belongs from a moderate family. She is not from a rich family. She is a hard worker, and definitely whatever position she had achieved now is of highly appreciable, and she is extremely means respectable for this particular position whatever she has. Means I am feeling lack of words even. Why? Because I have seen her journey, and very much thankful Pradnya again for such a wonderful session for our students. Then I would like to thank all the department faculty members for giving us the opportunity, and once again thankful to Vishal Borate sir for again arranging the same. And last but not the least, you all student who have given the patient listening and have acquired lots of knowledge from her experience. And yes, lastly, I would like to say just be at home, be happy, stay safe, avoid getting infected, and just do up the positive work, be creative. And if you have any more questions, you can directly contact her. Whatever PPTs and etc. are there would be sent you in your WhatsApp messages. I am not able to add it here at the Dropbox, so I would be sending them to your WhatsApp messages. And regarding any more queries and further more add-ons like internship and etc., I would be definitely posting you time and then, as if I am doing it for third year and BE students. Definitely SC students should be also given with the some boost of knowledge like internships and etc. Definitely that would be done. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I conclude the ceremony is ended. The event is ended today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.